Hello and welcome to CGTN's live coverage of the Kim Jong Un Donald Trump summit here in Hanoi. And we are currently waiting outside the Metropole Hotel, which you can see a little further just down the road there, waiting for the first meeting of Kim Jong Un and Donald Trump of this summit, which is going to be a dinner. We're expecting the two leaders to arrive in about an hour's time. They will have a small chance to sit down for about 20 minutes for a one-on-one meeting, after which they'll sit down for a dinner. It's going to be quite a small dinner, only 6 present. On the American side, Donald Trump, Mike Pompeo, the Secretary of State, and Mick Mulvaney, his Chief of Staff. On the DPRK side will be Kim Jong Un, senior leader from the Workers' Party, and we think maybe his sister. So it's going to be a small, intimate affair. Very little news coming out from either side about the topics of discussion. We haven't had very much activity from either side today. It was the thought that perhaps we'd see several bilateral meetings, but those don't appear to have materialized at this stage. What we can see down there, and again, it's a busy day here in Hanoi. You can see there's a high security presence. But we've got large delegations. We assume those are from both the American side and the DPRK side, waiting for their respective leaders to turn up. We understand there have been some pretty extensive preparations inside the Metropole throughout today. Kim Jong Un's butler turning up, his sister also, we understood, came to the Metropole last night to check on arrangements. One would imagine the Americans have also done similar things. The Vietnamese hosts have been keeping a tight ring of security around the hotel. But it has to be said, throughout this summit and the arrival of the leaders about 24 hours ago, Hanoi has been keeping security fairly light. I mean, I think in the areas where Donald Trump and Kim Jong Un have been located, people have been locked down, the security has been very tight, but for the most part, the city has been moving around. You can see also here a very high media presence. There are media here from all over the world, an estimated 3,000 journalists coming from all over the world. We've got people broadcasting live at the moment. A lot of interested parties too. One of the things that we've seen here is since Donald Trump and Kim Jong Un arrived is quite a lot of interest from local Vietnamese. We saw a fairly rapturous arrival when Kim Jong Un arrived by train in Dong Dan yesterday morning. But at this stage, today has all been about Vietnam. This morning, Donald Trump went to meet the President of Vietnam at the Presidential Palace and the Prime Minister, and signed a number of very considerable deals, one for several tens of billions of dollars for Boeing airliners. And several weeks ago there were some questions about why Vietnam was chosen as the venue for this. Well, it's a location which is clearly suitable to both, but Vietnam also seems to be doing very well. It had now, having hosted this meeting, has placed itself very much at the forefront as a global player. I think if everything goes according to plan in the next 48 hours, it will have built itself a reputation as a place where these kinds of high-level meetings can take place. But also Vietnam has made it known for some time that it wants to sit down with Donald Trump. It values very much its relationship with the United States. And I think there's been a feeling here that Donald Trump's a fairly mercurial character. He's not shown a huge amount of interest in foreign affairs, and I think there was a concern in Vietnam that as one of the smaller countries in Southeast Asia, it may well get passed over. Well, that appears not to have happened. I think they've managed to get the FaceTime they wanted with Donald Trump. But we are obviously now going to turn our attention to this meeting. Again, security coming here, keeping a very tight control. One would imagine in the next half an hour or so, these roads are going to be closed down in preparation for the motorcades for the leaders. We haven't yet seen the close personal security that Kim Jong Un had in Singapore with his bodyguards running alongside his limousine, but they may get their first airing this evening. Lots of ordinary people trying to get about their daily business. This is quite an inconvenience, I guess, for local people in Hanoi, but everyone seems to be treating it in fairly good nature. So the stage is now set for this summit to begin. In an hour's time, we will have the first two meetings, the first meeting between these two leaders. Again, I'm not sure at this stage how much expectation there is that a real deal can come, particularly on the touchy subject of denuclearization. We haven't had any word from Mike Pompeo. There was a possible press briefing earlier this afternoon. That didn't come about. But we assume they will manage to work towards some positive end at this stage. And one can only hope that over the next 24 hours, they're both in the same place, they both get the chance to sit down, and they can both come up with something productive. So from Hanoi, we'll pass you back. This is CGTN's live coverage of the Donald Trump, Kim Jong Un summit here in the Vietnamese capital.